Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Podcast today, October 13th, 2021, heading into the middle of October. Can't believe it. I don't know. I'm pretty jacked up. Must be the 7 a.m. cappuccino or the coffee, ready to roll. We have with us Becky Alley. Hi, Becky Alley.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our podcast today.
Yeah, Becky Alley, top 1% of all mortgage loan originators in the United States. We appreciate Becky each and every day. Also, we have Mr. Harvey Freed. Hey, Harv.
Hello, good morning.
Harvey broadcasting from his palatial estate backyard right on the lake. Harvey, looking good. You feeling good?
I'm feeling a lot better. Thank you.
I like the word.
Good. Harvey Freed, of course, is the host of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, heard every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 on 97.1 FM here in metropolitan Detroit for the last going on 23 years now, Harvey. Wow, it's been that long since we started that show. Amazing. Special guest today, everybody. Give him the snaps, Becky. Let's go.
Snaps for Darren.
Special guest today is Darren Roberts from Jim Schaefer Associates in Royal Oak. DR, what's up, brother?
Not much, you guys. I appreciate you inviting me in today to have a good time with all of you guys.
Well, we are going to have a good time. We have some subjects we want to talk about. We want to get your take on a lot of things. Of course, the first thing we want to talk about and bring to your attention, Darren, mid-October home buying is still really strong. You believe it? It's mid-October. Home purchase market is still going crazy. Tell us, what are you seeing from the streets of Royal Oak? What do you guys see there?
You guys, in the streets of Royal Oak right now, we're just seeing some pretty low inventory and some eager buyers writing offers left and right. I always like to say there's more realtors in the state of Michigan than there are houses right now. So we're running a little low on inventory, but it's still one of the strongest markets I've seen in the 3.5 years I've been doing this.
You know, Darren, I'm glad that you brought that up. You know, realtors that I've spoken to, and you can imagine that, we talk to a lot of realtors every single day, and we like the perspective from the street. We're out on the street. Realtors I've spoken say inventory, it's not getting any better. It's still really low. Traditionally, what we see at the end of summer, moving into the fall and going right now, we would see a pickup in inventory, but we're not seeing that. Factor fiction. Fact or fiction? First question is, inventory is getting better. Fact or fiction?
I would say inventory is getting slightly better. That's a fact. I've noticed that, we call it the Woodward corridor. It's maintaining, but I'm still running into highest and best situations. People are still writing well over asking. They're still giving appraisal guarantees, and it's still a feeding frenzy out there.
You go, Becky Alley. Becky Alley, who's on the street every single day, top 1% of all originators in the United States. Becky, you're on the street every day. My people are telling me inventory is still really low. And as Darren mentioned, still the crazy multiple bids, appraisal guarantees, things going on back. We thought it was going to taper off by now. It certainly has not.
No, I don't think we ever really thought it was going to taper off. I think naturally the history has been that in this time of year, like you mentioned, more inventory comes on the market, but with that more inventory, as quickly as it's coming on, the buyers are gobbling it up, right? And like he was mentioning, there's more real estate agents out there than there are inventory. There's more buyers out there than there are houses, right? So anything that's even halfway decent is still flying off the shelves. I am seeing, though, that more of those niche products like your FHA with concessions, where those were totally just shunned upon about 6 months ago, those are actually now being entertained by some of these offers, considering what's going on. Everyone's situation is different. And I think some of that has to do with the fact that the original offers have fallen through for whatever the reason, right? So maybe this offset over the top appraisal guarantee had to come to the table, and then the buyers had remorse over having to give up $20,000 and they had to look for a quick exit. So then enter the backup offer that might be FHA with concessions, right? So there's all these different situations that are happening, but I definitely think that we're going to continue on this trend for some time, because you have sellers that are now also afraid to get into the buyer's pool.
Yeah, yeah. I want Harvey. Before I go to you, I want to mention John Kolb has joined us. Good morning, John.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Good. John Kolb, also top 1% of originators in the United States. Harvey Free, you had a situation. We're talking about, the strong market out there, strong sales market. We're seeing buyers back out of deals too, aren't we? Aren't we seeing buyers back out?
Yeah, there's this combination of remorse, but the overbidding has got overzealous. And then there's some regrets after when they do get the appraisal back. They thought they had to come out of pocket maybe to make the bridge, to bridge the gap on the appraisal, 20, 30,000. We've seen some here up to $60,000 to $90,000 quite often. And I wanted to reach back out and ask Darren if he felt like how I feel, like the escalation clause really could be your best friend in today's market versus really going in and just throwing some crazy number out there so you get the house for your client. Perhaps doing a stronger escalation clause would save some of these buyers the money in their pocket. Good, bid over the house 10, pay 10, 20, 30 over the asking. Get the offer accepted, but maybe not just 40 or 50 or $60,000. So I really like that escalation clause in today's market.
Absolutely. I agree with you there. The escalation clauses weren't really a thing 6 months ago. People were throwing those big numbers out there, guaranteeing doing the appraisal guarantees, maybe having a little buyer remorse halfway through. Now, as a lead buyer and list agent on my team here, I am advising those escalation clauses, offering $1,000 over the highest and next offer instead of having to, give 20, 30 when you didn't really have to. We are noticing, Becky did mention that those FHAs, those VA loans are starting to happen again. In this market today, I would say the seasonality is that I'm not getting 8 to 10 offers on a single home anymore. I'm getting 1 to 2, right? And people are starting to feel that they are not overpaying for homes. And that's what's keeping buyers eager at the moment. And I think that's really what stems to our low inventory again. There are still a ton of buyers out there, and buyers are realizing that they're not having to do those crazy gaps anymore. So it's really interesting to see, but those escalation clauses are a plus these days.
So first thing Monday morning, Darren, I'm at my local Starbucks, of course, getting one of my many cappuccinos during the day to keep me going crazy here. And I ran into a realtor friend of ours, realtor partner of ours, and he did tell me the following. He gave me an example. He said on a $400,000 house, they were getting multiple bids of $10,000 or $15,000 over. And then one realtor said to a buyer, listen, if you want to win the deal, that seems to be the quote unquote mantra now. If you want to win the deal, just go $75,000 over. Like it was nothing. You didn't need to go $75,000, but they went $75,000 over right away. Of course, they won the deal because what buyer wouldn't accept it? Except for the fact that what? If you're a really conscientious realtor out there, the other side's going to say, wait a minute, this house isn't going to appraise out. It's just not going to do it. So then let's talk about it, Darren and Becky. Now what? 75 over, the offer's accepted. Now what?
I assume that the buyers are probably running for the hills, assuming the appraisal did not come in the way that I wouldn't even imagine they were thinking it was going to come in. But I actually was on a podcast even last night, right? I guess you can't put a price on something that you really want per se, right? Now, if I really, really want something and it's going to cost $5 naturally, but I have to have it, am I willing to pay $10 for it? Yeah. All right. I would do that. So I guess if you're going to enter into a situation like that with both eyes open, knowing that you're naturally putting yourself in a negative equity situation and you have that kind of money to throw around, then who are we to say, what is good and what's not, right? But in the situation that you are a little bit on the cash poor side and you're going to strap yourself, then I feel like they got some bad advice to win the deal, right? So I
win the deal.
It's about
John Kolb, now what? 75,000 over on a $400,000 listed price. Now what?
Well, basically it's your foot in the door, right? So, I didn't see the transaction and know the details behind it, but I had a similar one where my buyer, the seller was trying to back out of the deal that we had together because he had a significant offer a backup offer that he wanted to take advantage of. Our appraisal came in 10 grand lower than the purchase price that my buyer was willing to. So I got on the phone with the listing agent and I said, okay, so this backup offer that you want to accept, does it have an appraisal guarantee? Do they have any type of escalation clause? And she said, no. And I said, well, then their offer is their offer is BS. And I said, so, basically they're just luring you away to try to get the home for themselves. But when the appraisal comes in less, then they're going to renegotiate. So why are you going to go through all that? So maybe that's the mentality that your friend at Starbucks had said, was thinking like, hey, let's offer 75 grand over. When it comes in 25 grand overpriced, then we'll renegotiate. But I always like my good foot forward. And I know that, Darren comes from a company where, the Woodward corridor and doing everything the right way is where I live. And, seeing that around here is just mind boggling to me, because the comps are the comps. And if the appraisal is not going to come in, then the offer is just that. It's just an offer and it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah. For the record, the realtor I was talking to was totally against it. All the red flags came out. He advised his listing, his client, listen, all kinds of red flags here. We can accept the offer or not, but we know that this house is not going to price out. We have to make sure that this buyer has the cash to come up with. So, that's really what happened. And Darren, look, we love the Woodward corridor. We talked about the Woodward corridor for years and years and years. This is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, equal housing lender. 2021 is our NMLS number. Got to get that in for the compliance and legal people. Darren, the Woodward corridor has been hot. It is hot. Homes all the way Ferndale, all the way up through Bloomfield Hills. We're seeing houses go at tremendously high rates. Why? School districts are good. People want to live there. The municipality services are really good. Let's face it. It's a place where people want to be and enjoy. But I got to tell you, I'm the guy that always has to prepare the appraisal rebuttals on this. So, like in the last example, then we'll move on to new construction. You got to let your clients know that there are certain things that are going to happen. Anyways, Darren, let's talk about new construction in the city of Royal Oak and surrounding area, even Hazel Park, Madison Heights, Clawson, Ferndale. You see this infill building going on. People are tearing down houses and they're building brand new houses, right? Love all that. New construction is going crazy, but we also know that construction prices are going up. You're seeing a lot of new builds in Royal Oak. What's the new construction market look like in your area?
The new construction market in my area is kind of unique because lots in my area aren't very large, right? This Woodward corridor, we have a lot of those post-World War bungalows with existing foundations. Contractors are coming in, buying these homes, leveling them out and putting new colonials up. That's a desire because in my opinion, what's happening in the Bloomfield Hills, Birmingham areas is now starting to trickle over into the Royal Oak area. And our Royal Oak pricing is now trickling into the Ferndale area and then going east and west to that Hazel Park, Oak Park. So I really do think builders are taking advantage of what was north of us and kind of spreading it through the Royal Oak, Hazel Park, Oak Park, Ferndale area.
Yeah. Hey, Becky, having grown up in that area, and I've seen that area, and I haven't strayed too far from that area with our office being here in Southfield, and having grown up in Oak Park, the entire wood, I used to know every house on every block in that corridor. And what I've seen is absolutely impressive. I think that Darren, being educated, knowledgeable about the area, talking about the World War II, post-World War II boom in that area, you're seeing now 2 generations removed coming in and rehabbing those areas. It's not uncommon. I love it. I think people have to be putting on my investment hat. It's a quality of life. Look at you and I both rehabbed our homes. Harvey's built 2 or 3 new homes. John has bought 2 or 3 properties where he's improved. Becky, isn't it a quality of life issue rather than an investment issue?
I mean, you got to love where you live right now. I mean, that's been one thing that it's been a common theme ever since COVID-19 came about, when everyone's kind of forced to reevaluate their current living situations, right? Do I have the office space? Do I have the school space for my children? All those things come into play, so then when you have these investors coming in and gobbling up these properties and rebuilding, it is kind of revamping that whole vibe of, Ferndale, Oak Park's the new Ferndale, and Royal Oak. Ferndale was the old Royal Oak. I mean, it's been this trickle down like he's talking about. And one thing about Darren is I cannot speak highly enough of the level of expertise that he gives his clients, right? From start to finish. I mean, it's not just this cookie cutter, rush to the offer. He's educating them from point A to point B. The Jim Schaefer team in general, I mean, they have that customer service that is bar none, right? It's the best out there. And when you're hooking up with one of their agents, especially Darren, you're getting that kind of background on the areas. What are you getting into before you start getting into these accepted offers and or maybe these bidding wars? But Darren's offers stand out because he knows what he's looking for, and he knows how to read a contract properly. So when you're trying to buy these houses, yes, am I going to pay $10, like I said, for something that I really, really want? Of course I am. But if I'm not in that position and I think I'm going to turn an investment and I'm buying it for those reasons, well, then you need to reevaluate your situation, because you're not going to make that money back right now.
Yeah, and I like the thought process and the experience Darren brings. He does his research, and Jim Schaefer and Associates, they've been around for a long time, and we appreciate their partnership. Harvey Freed, you're kind of our new construction king. You built a couple houses, maybe 3 or 4 that I've known of. We drive the Home Depot parking lots every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, taking a look at the trends that are going on in home improvement. Harvey, it can't be. You're the one that told me, hey, Harry, why not a built-in pool? Hey, Harry, ranches are worth more than colonials. Hey, Harry, now that COVID has happened and people are staying home more, maybe that brick paver patio that I put in is going to get more on resale. I still don't believe it, but Harvey, educate me a little bit, huh?
Well, buyers need great advice, and Darren Roberts, and we've had the privilege to meet a whole bunch of great real estate agents recently. As Darren mentioned, there's more agents out there than homes on the marketplace, so it's so important as a buyer to really get that professional advice behind you. There's such a difference between these real estate agents that understand, they know what's going on in the city, so they understand the upcoming millages, the up and coming new projects and assessments that can really affect your housing investment. Now, what we talk about investment. You got to love where you live. So the key is that you really enjoy where you're living. And if you're going to do those home projects, yes, one day you would like to be able to know that you're going to get your money back out of them. And things in the past that didn't add value now do add value. And even in my neck of the woods here, I'm outside. I'll walk the neighborhood in a little bit here. We've got a couple new constructions just in my neighborhood. Of course, I'm off the water here off of Cass Lake. So there's been a couple knockdowns. There's been a couple buyers that are really bought some older homes and they're putting the money into them, Harry. I see a siding project down the street. My neighbor did siding. We're all now starting to look and putting the money back into our homes. So you need that kind of advice when you're working with the real estate agent. You go to a house, there's so little inventory out there, you fall in love with it. You need that agent to point out to you why it's a good investment and sort of go over the things that you might need to improve to figure out your value. Sometimes you're better off increasing the amount of house you want to buy so you'll get a little bit more out of it. Don't buy that money pit unless it's in that location that you want. So again, if I could sort of circle back to you, Harry, on what you're going to put money into, work with that agent. The qualified agents know where you got to put the money, and they also know the assessments coming up, the new projects, the millage, things that you need to know as a buyer. And I think that's key.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. We're joined by Darren Roberts, Jim Schaefer and Associates today, Wednesday, October 13, 2021, mid-October, everybody. And Darren, you work probably with a lot of first-time home buyers. Your friends are buying houses. Their friends are buying. You work with a lot of first-time home buyers. To me, been doing this a long time. Nothing still gets me going than putting a first-time home buyer into a house. Go ahead and you're a little bit younger than I am. I think he's a little bit younger, John Kolb. There, I gave myself a dig, so you didn't have to. Darren's a little bit younger. If it still gets me jacked up, first-time home buyer, how is it with you and your friends when they buy their first home?
It's a great question. I do work mostly with first-time home buyers. That's my niche. I was a teacher for 5 years prior to going into real estate. My job is to educate friends, first-time home buyers, the expensive stuff in homes to look for. I'm checking foundations and mechanics and the plumbing and the electrical. I point all the not fun stuff out first, because if all these expenses are coming up in the beginning, don't fall in love with the cute kitchen, right? So I call it full circle. I just had my first full circle closing yesterday. Good friend of mine bought 2 years ago. I was able to sell it. She was able to have proceeds 2 years from now. And that's what it's all about. They're calling me back because they trusted my process in the beginning. And I was able to sell their home 2 years later for quite a different amount that she paid for 2 years ago. So, really it's educating. You need to educate these buyers going in. I generally push away from a house versus pushing in. And there are, and that's why I think I keep having repeat clients, or starting to have them now that I'm in year 3.
Yeah, I think that's great. And Becky, that's why we call this the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast, along with the show, because you know what? Sometimes, Becky, we've got to give that kind of advice that Darren gives. Sometimes we have to take a look at something objective and say, you know what? It's not the right program for you. I wouldn't do this. I mean, why are you looking at an adjustable rate? Why are you looking at a balloon mortgage? I mean, it's a 30-year fixed rate market right now. This is the program for you. So it sounds like Darren is giving that same objective advice to his clients as kind of we give to our people. And sometimes people don't want to hear it, right, Beck?
No, yeah, it's all about, if you talk to enough people, someone is going to tell you what you want to hear eventually, right? But we're not in that kind of business. That's not our culture. That is not what we stand behind. We're going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And, and I feel like people respect that. A lot of people are afraid to say the word no. And sometimes you get more yeses from one no, because like someone like Darren, he's going to point out those things that maybe they didn't think about, because you're right. They're coming in this house. They're envisioning their children and all this, they're seeing what they want to see. But, guess what? After the circus leaves town and, it's just you in that house, and then all of a sudden your furnace is going out because you didn't hire a true professional real estate agent to kind of handhold you and point out these things that are real life scenarios that come with home ownership. You're going to be upset, right? And then you're going to be looking over the seller disclosures, right? Not even know what you're looking for. So, reading the contracts, getting with the right professionals, the team that Darren has underneath him, from the inspectors, right? The mortgage professionals, the people that are going to, the title agents, right? Everyone comes into play from start to finish to get everyone through the finish line. And the biggest part is having someone like Darren walking you through that house, because it's not a Vanna White thing, right? Anyone could be like, ooh, look at this in the kitchen, the cupboards, they're soft clothes. It's not about that. It's about what is going on in the mechanics of the house that is going to set him apart from every other real estate agent out there.
Yeah, hey, John Kolb, I think Darren has the line of the day so far. Cute kitchen versus crack foundation. You
Right.
tell me. I mean, what are we going to go? We're going to go with the cute kitchen or the crack foundation? What do you want to do?
I mean, you and I are going to argue about these type of amenities till the cows come home. But I mean, yeah, Darren's, spot on with obviously making sure the foundation is, because you can do your own upgrades when it comes. But, I'm a huge advocate of making sure that you have upgrades, making sure you do have curb appeal, keeping care of that lawn, keeping care of the sidewalk. And, that's just the way that I grew up. That's the way that I look at things, and would want to buy and sell anything that I'm involved in. But that's my point, that's my point of view. And I think it leads, it's certainly, you're not going to get dollar for dollar that you put into your yard or your landscape or everything like that, but it's certainly going to set you apart from some of the other homes out there, because those people know that they can walk into that home more turnkey than another home, and keep moving on with their day-to-day lives.
Well, John, I think that my point of view has changed, and it's kind of like, and Darren, I'm going to give a sports analogy here, whether you want to hear it or not. I always do. It's kind of like baseball now. It's all situational. And I'm going to go with this, Darren, and I'm going to agree with John Kolb. I'm on the record now as agreeing with John Kolb. If you've got the garden in front, the nice fence, the manicured backyard, you've got that curb appeal in this market, because there's such a lack of desirable homes, you could get way over and above for that particular house. but Darren, it's all situational now, and the market's crazy. I think all the rules are out the window. The fundamentals are the same. You got to get an inspection. You don't want to really overpay unless, again, Becky says, unless you really want the house. But the fundamentals are the same. Pre-approval, go with a reputable lender. Listen to people who've been through the transaction before. Do what needs to be done. So I'm going to tell you, the garden might look good. The patio might look good. The walkway might look good. If it looks good, it might go for way over asking price, Darren.
Absolutely. I mean, curb appeal is everything in this market right now too. On a sell side standpoint, that's what you want. You want the curb appeal. You want the good kitchen. You want the cute bathrooms. That's really getting all the buyers in, and that's when you get those multiple offers. On the buy side, I steer with caution a little bit, making sure that my buyers are getting into a home that is structurally sound. I apologize. There's a train coming my way. But it's one of those things that it is situational, like you said, and I think every situation is a little bit different, but absolutely correct on you're selling a house right now and you've got good curb appeal, you got landscaping done, a new kitchen, people are going to go in there and they're going to bid for what they want.
Yep, everybody, this is.
You mentioned too, Darren, that you were able to come full circle, and that price point that your client was able to buy, right, sell 2 years later, make the profit, and then turn around and buy again. I mean, we are in a tremendous market that is allowing our buyers, our clients to be able to do that. And when they're coming back, nothing is more flattering than when your client feels safe and comfortable and they want to go around again, because we are a part of their story. No matter whatever their experience was, we're a part of it, right? And the point is to set those proper expectations from the get-go, and just being transparent, right? And I feel like a lot of people are afraid to be transparent, and that's something that I do admire about you, is that you are fully transparent from start to finish.
Absolutely.
Yeah, transparency, being hardcore, giving the proper information, disseminating accurate versus inaccurate information. It's what we believe in. We're going to go around the horn now. Darren, this is the part of the show that we come to the end and we give everybody the last word. I'm going to start with Harvey, go to John, Becky, and then you're going to get the last word, Darren. Harvey Freed, let's conclude. What are your last words for the day?
Well, home buying is a lot of fun. These podcasts that you see, our Hardcore Mortgage Show, we talk a lot about some of the other things to look out for in housing. But of course, at the end of the day, it's really exciting and fun to buy a house. Get that strong approval letter. Ask your agent. If you're working with a qualified agent, there's such a different tone. You find guys like Darren Roberts. Sometimes they even have pocket listings. The office will have some internal listings, and then you have an opportunity, maybe get your offer accepted without overbidding. So really getting that professional team together is key. And that's my final thoughts.
Excellent. Great thoughts, Harvey Freed. John Kolb.
I think the information that Darren brought to the podcast today was very valuable, letting us know about, what to expect in the Woodward corridor coming up. And I think I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like I said, living here for, going on 23 years. It's just a different environment, and you have to have an agent that is familiar with the area that you're buying in, because every market is a little bit different, even though we're all in the same general tri-county area. Royal Oak, Birmingham, Ferndale is different than West Bloomfield, Commerce, that area. And having an agent that's familiar with what the listings, the other agents out there, having his ear to the ground is very, very valuable. And Darren Roberts is the guy to go to.
Appreciate that, John. Becky Alley.
I'm going to bring it back to your goals, right? So think about it. It's already halfway through October. If home ownership was something that you were trying to make a part of your life in 2021, you have the time to do it. Now is the time to kind of analyze what your expectations were for yourself, personally, professionally, and kind of lay it out. And all you got to do is make a decision every day what you're going to do, right? So if you missed your goal, you had a bad day yesterday, well, you can make that decision today. And part of it all starts with conversation. So if you're thinking about purchasing, refinancing, start the conversation sooner than later so we can get you hooked up with someone like Darren Roberts to make homeownership a reality. We're going to get you set up. We're going to get you on the right path. And it all starts with that conversation. You make a decision for yourself and the future. So that's what I got for today.
Excellent, Becky. Really appreciate that. Darren Roberts, talk to us, buddy. What's your last thoughts for today on this podcast?
My last thoughts on this podcast today, my friends, is that any time is a good time to buy and sell your home. The important part is being educating while doing so. You know, make sure you're meeting the right realtor, make sure you're getting in touch with the right lender, educating yourself before jumping into something you're not familiar with. No question is a dumb question, in my opinion, and it's extremely important to be knowledgeable during this process, but anytime is the right time.
Darren Roberts, we appreciate you being on the podcast today, and I'm just proud to work with professionals like you, Harvey, John, Becky, all the people that we work with every day. I'm grateful for all the opportunities that come our way. We certainly strive to do the best job and put our best forward every single day. We've been around for a long time, over 30 years, and we must be doing something right, but that doesn't mean we rest on our laurels. I know every day that we wake up, we look to do a little bit better each and every day. This has been the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast today. Today is October 13, 2021, mid-October, everybody. Market is still going strong. Interest rates are still very, very low. There's no reason not to go out and buy a new house, or if you're in a house, refinance your rate to a lower rate, take some cash out, pay off some toxic debt. Listen, get a hold of us, Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's 1-800-569-7283. And listen, everybody, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.